Shout out to Lil Bro for this one.
What's going on, YouTube? This. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, we just, we should have done that in the first place. What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Fadeaway Hokage. Members of the village and subscribers know me as Joe Kage. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. While you at it, like, comment, share the video for me. Appreciate that, you guys. Today's video is going to be a little bit different, y'all. A little bit different. Look, it's been a while. It's been some years. I've been trying to actually switch over to PC gaming, right? I had a PS. First of all, I just want to, like, the way it was supposed to go, you had a Game Boy, you had a DS, maybe a PSP. I skipped that, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. GameCube. When you get to the actual, like, more the current consoles, it went Xbox 360, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. If that's the route that you went, let me know in the comments, guys. That's how I went. Game Boy, DS, GameCube, 360, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. That's the way to go. Now I'm looking to actually transition into PC gaming, and as you may or may not know, the economy right now is kind of garbage, y'all. It's kind of garbage. But I was actually able to finally acquire all of the parts to build my first PC. Okay, so today I'm just gonna walk you guys through all the parts that I have, give a price point for you guys too, and see just how much it costs for me to build this PC. And then later on, I'll actually be moving forward. I guess I'll actually be recording all of my gameplay probably from the actual PC. Now I do want to know that primarily I'm going to be using this PC for gaming, but I'm also going to be doing some video editing things on it as well too. So just kind of keep that in mind. Like, as I'm showing you guys the parts, I kind of explain why I went with what I went, whether it was because of something I'm going to be doing or whether it was because of a price point. I kind of had to do like something well thought out to actually make sure that I was getting what I wanted, what I needed, and not paying too much for that as well too. I will also leave a link in the description as well to PC Part Picker. If you guys aren't familiar with PC Part Picker, no, this is not a sponsor, but if you guys do want to sponsor, please let me know. PC Part Picker is a nice website. It will let you actually pick out all the parts of the PC, right? It's right there in the name. Give you a price point, give you a place where to buy them. But most importantly with PC Part Picker, it'll actually tell you the compatibility of all your parts, right? So if you have, say, a DDR5 motherboard, but you're trying to get some DDR4 RAM, PC Part Picker is gonna, like, big bold red, like, hey, hold on, these parts aren't compatible, right? So it helps out a lot when it comes to picking out the PC parts and making sure that you're having what you need. You also can post your own builds on there as well too. So there's a whole community as well. You have people like ask questions, people provide feedback on certain parts and kind of tell you what it is that they're doing with those parts as well too. So I'll leave that link in the description for you guys. You guys can check that out at the end of the video as well. First things first, right? This is the most expensive part of this PC. Probably the most expensive part of any PC nowadays, especially with the way that crypto mining is going and the way that these things, the chip shortage, things of that nature for the pandemic. I have my graphics card, right? I'll kind of show you. So for my graphics card, guys, I went with the AMD Radeon 6700 XT. Right, kind of says it right here. One of the main reasons why I went with it is because of its 1440p gaming capabilities. With this bad boy, honestly, you don't have to run 1440p. Of course, I don't know why you would get it if you weren't going to, but it will be able to run 1080p. Ultra HD settings, no problem. 1440p. I didn't do benchmark tests. I watched benchmark tests. I watched a couple people on YouTube do some tests on it. I saw anywhere from like 80 frames per second to 120 frames per second on 1440p. So it'll do what it needs to do. It'll get the job done, right? Right now, currently, I believe the price of the 6700 XT has gone down. I actually got this for about $550 a few months ago. I think I saw it on Amazon for about $508 right now, right? So if I wait a little bit longer, I probably could have got it for a little bit cheaper, right? But $50 and give or take could have been used to go somewhere else. It does actually. I'm not gonna say that doesn't go a long way. That would actually be lying if I said that. Every penny counts when you're buying PC parts as far as saving, because $50 saved on a graphics card can go towards a new cooler. It can go towards a new processor. Especially again with the market fluctuating the way it is, you want to make sure that you're saving money and then allocating that wherever you can. All right, so guys, moving right on down the list, whether you want to go in order of price point or whether you want to go in order of maybe most importance, right? Depending on who you speak to, right? The next thing that I have to show you guys is the processor. It's not a whole lot to actually show you guys, but I guess I will talk about it. The processor I went with was the Intel i5 12600. I was about to say 12600. That's not how you say that. 12,600K. That is the unlocked version of the Intel i5. I think what ended up happening was I went to Micro Center. They had a promo. I think it was for 11 Gen. 11? Yeah, it was 11 Gen. I think it was an i7 for like a little over $200, right? My brother sent it to me. He's like, hey, you know, I know you're trying to build a PC. You know, they got this on sale. You should go check it out. Mind you, Micro Center is like 45 minutes away, right? So I went to Micro Center, got the processor. The very next week, they put the i5 12th Gen on sale. Like, okay, so I had to hop back into my car, make that 45-minute drive again, return the 11th Gen, and then get the 12th Gen. But however, I am very, very happy with the purchase. Again, this also will help when it comes to gaming at 1440p. Also, I went with the 12th Gen for future proofing as well too. I'll get into DDR4 and DDR5 memory a little bit later into the video, but when it comes to future proofing, I think probably 13th Gen when it comes out, of course, it might be better than the 12th Gen, just because the 12th Gen is like the first generation of the new one, right, or whatever. And I think AMD is going to have their chip come out whenever that's going to be. But again, as far as future proofing goes, I know that if I have a 12th Gen, I'll be able to use the DDR5 in the future for better memory. It makes me, I'll have to replace some computer parts, but right now this is what I'm going to go with, and it's going to be good for what I'm doing with this build. This says $319 on the box. I didn't get it for $319. Again, it was on sale. I think I got it for around like $250, $260. It's going around still at that price at Micro Center. That's the one in Madison Heights, guys. I don't know if it'll be different price point at a different Micro Center, but if you're in the Michigan area, the Madison Heights area, Madison Heights Micro Center has this. Actually, I think they have a lot of these still. Like I always see them. Like even like if I do happen to see like where it's kind of like, oh, this much in stock, like the next week they have some more. So, you know, kind of weird if you ask me, because with the shortages and everything. But all right, now this is gonna be a tad bit misleading, but I promise you I'll explain. Okay, again, guys, my brother builds. He's I don't know how many PCs he's built. Probably at least 3, right? He has his own as well too. He had like a kind of a travel case one that he built as well. And so whenever he had like some other parts, he kind of was like, hey, you know, I got these parts for the PC. If you want to use them, you can use them, you know. And he gave me this Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro memory, right? Now, this particular memory, this is what, 3600 megahertz DDR4, is going for about, I think it's like 160, 170, right? DDR4 3600 megahertz, it's 32 gigs, so there's 4 8GB sticks. That would be more than enough for gaming, right? I think usually right now the recommended is like 16 gigabytes for gaming, so 32 gigabytes is more than enough. Also, again, for video editing as well too, that'll be more than enough, perfect for that. At $160 price point, compared to like DDR5 memory costs right now, you can probably get something for around 200 or even like 148 for like 42, 4600. The thing about DDR4 and DDR5 may have a faster data speed, but the actual transfer speeds of DDR5 are very low right now, right? You'll see maybe like 16, 38 on DDR4, whereas on DDR5 it's just like 40s all across the board, maybe with 36 to 38. So the data speed will be higher, but the actual transfer speeds won't be as high. And so it's kind of some of the trade-offs at this point. You're better off, in my opinion, getting DDR4 and just kind of waiting for better DDR5 prices in the future and better DDR5 overall speeds, right? So Now, I mentioned that this was going to be a little misleading, and this is what I meant by that. So, the Vengeance RGB Pro, I believe, is what my brother has in his PC. He was kind enough still to give me his old RAM that he has, still DDR4, a little bit slower transfer speed of 2400, but those data speeds are 1616, 1639, right? Still faster than any DDR5 that I could find at this point at a reasonable price, right? I didn't want to spend $500 on a DDR5 memory, and then when it's still kind of new and it'll be something better as far as like overall speed later down the line, just didn't make any sense to me. So again, brother, he was kind enough to give me this Ballistix DDR4 memory. Still 32 gigabytes. It's 4 8GB sticks. I could not find the pricing online for this. I don't even think they had it on PC Part Picker. A lot of these are actually out of stock, right? To be honest with you, even when I went on like Amazon, maybe you could find something like that on eBay. So I don't have a particular price point for that, but again, for the RGB Pro Corsair, 3600 is about 160. I know 3200 is about 150. Okay, by far the heaviest thing in this build, right? This will be my first time building a PC, and although I'm a computer scientist, actually like literally a computer scientist, I actually graduated not too long ago, and I like computers and all, but I didn't actually realize how heavy that these power supplies get. So as when it comes to power supplies, I went with the EVGA 750GA. Right, so this is a 80 plus gold standard. I didn't need a 750 wattage power supply. I think I only needed about like maybe 550 to 600 maybe. I think I'm still overshooting that. But again, when it comes to PCs, right, being able like to customize, being able like to actually switch out parts, I kind of was thinking ahead to the future and future proofing it. So I know that some of the 12th gen compatible motherboards and the 12th gen memory, the DDR5 memory, is going to actually require more wattage when it comes to the PC overall. And then if I ever get like more RGB lighting, things of that nature, I wanted to make sure that I didn't have to go and buy a whole new power supply, that I at least I'm giving myself some room with that. So that's kind of like the main reason why I kind of went with a 750. I had like a 650 at one point, but I was like, I think I can go up a little bit. The price difference wasn't too much on it as far as how much it costed. So I think the 650 may have been 80, 85, but this particular model, the 750, was $100. So $15. Again, I will say this kind of throughout the video, the $15 probably could have went towards something else. If I had like the $15 and then like the 50 from the graphics card that I could have saved if I bought it sooner, that's $75, guys. Again, that's some more memory, or that's some more storage. That's, you know, could be better memory, could be a better motherboard, could be a better cooler. So again, when you're building a PC, right, every kind of penny matters to save, right? Again, money not spent here could be money spent somewhere else. Next, guys, I have my motherboard that I went with. Now, I went with the B660 DDR4 motherboard. This is a small form motherboard, micro ATX board. I went with the micro ATX board because, which I'll show you guys later on in the video, not only did my brother have memory to give me, he also had a case. He told me like, hey, I got a case for you as well too, but it is a micro case. It only fits small form motherboards. I'm like, you know what? That's cool, right? Again, I don't have to buy in the case. I'm fine with that. Appreciate it. Shout out to you, bro. So this particular motherboard I went with kind of because of that, and then also it's actually kind of specifically for 12th gen Intel processors. So I figure if I'm gonna get that processor, I might as well get a board that's actually kind of advertised with it as well too, to kind of go hand in hand and be able to actually use some of the features that the 12th gen processor has, and actually be able to use it to its full capabilities. So this motherboard, guys, it cost me, I believe, $110 for this one. Now, when you're actually getting this motherboard, guys, if you want to go out and purchase it, do not be alarmed, right? So I was looking for the Micro ATX, and that's what showed on PC Part Picker. When I went to Amazon and actually purchased the motherboard and it came, it didn't say anything about Micro ATX, at least not on the front, right? And I do believe they make these in a full size motherboard. So I got pretty actually scared, but all the way on the back it says form factor millimeters and it says Micro ATX. So luckily I actually calmed down and read the specifications. Reading is important, guys. Remember to read. Remember to read. Next thing I have, it is currently the only RGB element that will be in my PC, but not for long. I think I'm going to actually, I will be upgrading it and switching out more parts. I might do kind of like a before and after video as well too. Let me know, guys, if that's something you want to see, kind of before when I first built the PC, and then maybe like months later after I start adding new pieces. I think that'd be pretty cool. So for a CPU cooler, I went with the Cooler Master Black Edition. It is a Hyper 2012 RGB, has an RGB fan, right? I think that it's gonna look really cool when I actually put it in and get it running. Now, like I said, this particular fan cost me about 53 bucks. There are other fans out there that maybe have more RGB lights, more RGB settings, right? But again, when it came to what I was getting for that price point, it was pretty good. I believe this fan gets about anywhere from 650 to 2000 rotations per minute. Noise level is about, I want to say it was rated at like up to 30 decibels. I'll actually be able to see just how noisy it gets if it makes too much noise when I'm actually playing. Truthfully, I wanted to get a RGB fan that had the actual two fans in one. Sometimes though, when looking at it, sometimes that's actually less rotations per minute when it comes to those fans. And now that could be because there are two fans, and so if you have less rotations but still more fans, probably be a little bit better. I don't know the trade-off myself between that, to be honest with you guys. But one reason why I didn't go with that is because I actually didn't know the size of the case that I was getting, and so I didn't want to get a fan and then I couldn't fit it in the case, right? Not to mention that with this particular RGB fan, I think I'm already going to need extra brackets when it comes to kind of mounting that and securing it. And so I didn't want to get a bigger one and then need even more brackets and have to kind of try and find out where those was at. And then again, there's also the price point. Like I said, this cost me about 53 bucks. Some of the larger fans cost you about $75, something around there. And so echoing it again, that saving every penny kind of helps. So moving right along to storage, right? So I went with two separate storage options with this one, guys. So the first thing I want to show you guys is the M2 solid state drive. I have a 1 terabyte from Silicon Power. It's not a Samsung Evo, right? But it still has very, very high speeds. It also comes with like a 5-year warranty, so it's like, it might not be necessarily a brand that we know about or I know about, but I got faith that if something does happen with it, I got the warranty, I can send it back, get something else. What I plan to do with this particularly is I think I'm going to run my operating system on the 1 terabyte, and then I'm going to put like any games that I play frequently, like probably like Elden Ring, Warzone, so things like that, maybe 2K, all on the 1 terabyte. And then to kind of go with that, I have a 4 terabyte HDD, right? So the 4 terabyte is where I'll probably put all the rest of my games, any other work that I'm doing. Just wanted to have something that was faster, load up my software, my operating system faster, and load up the games that I play frequently faster. Then everything else I kind of figured I could throw on a HDD. And that way I get a total of 5 terabytes when it comes to storage space. Okay. This particular solid state drive cost me 70 bucks, and then the actual HDD cost me another probably 68 to 70 bucks. And so 5 terabytes for about 140, I think that's pretty good. I think like for 140 or 150, there are some 1 terabyte solid state drives. You might be able to find you a 2 terabyte solid state drive for still under 200. But again, for something like 5 terabytes, I don't think you're gonna find something that'll be like, under 140 like that. And so I kind of wanted to go with that setup right there, kind of maximize my storage space, and then again getting the most bang for my buck. And last but not least, guys, I have the case. Well, I don't. I do, but I don't. It's upstairs. I'm gonna go grab it. I know I said the power supply was the heaviest thing, but if you count the case as being an actual component of the PC, right? I guess it's still a part you gotta buy. You know, it doesn't really come with the PC. But then again, you technically could have a PC without a case. And so, anyways, last but not least, we have the case. I know what you guys are thinking, right? You're like, didn't you say micro? That's a pretty big case. It is. It definitely is a big case. Comes with two glass plates on the sides, on both sides. This again came from my brother, so to be honest, guys, I don't have a price point for you for this. Cases range anywhere from like 80 bucks to up to like 300 bucks, depending on what all the case comes with. This is, I believe, kind of like a bare bones case. It doesn't come with like the fans that some cases do have, but honestly, again, when it comes to trying to get the most bang for your buck, it will work just as good. Well, I mean, technically the fans will help you, right? But it will still work as far as like housing all of your components, right? So this particular one has vents both in the back and at the bottom, at the top as well too, covered by this kind of this mesh layering, both at the top and at the bottom as well. So I just kind of looking inside so I can see kind of the plates, where you'll kind of be mounting everything as well too. You know, looking at this, I hope, man, my power supply, I hope it's not too big to fit in this. Now that I'm looking at it, we're gonna see. We'll see. I hope not. Just pray for me. Fingers crossed it'll fit. All right, guys, so the original case that I wanted to show you that my brother got me actually was too small for some of the parts that I actually purchased, right? So as I stated, PC Part Picker, using that specific website will help you when it comes to doing it so you don't make the same mistakes that I did. What ended up happening was the motherboard that I showed you guys earlier fit inside the case perfectly fine, right? I didn't have the exact case to actually put in PC Part Picker, and so when it was showing me the compatibility between all my other parts, it was perfectly fine. But because I didn't have the actual case, it couldn't tell me some of the issues that I was going to have when I went to actually put the PC together. So the main thing was that the cooler that I showed you guys, that actually did not fit in the case. The cooler comes with a radiator. The radiator is about 100, I think, and 60 millimeters large, and it didn't have enough clearance inside the case. The radiator was actually sticking outside the case. I probably should take a picture to show you guys what it actually looked like. And so I actually originally thought about, hey, you know what, I could just kind of run the case like that, put some fans in, some, you know, extra airflow, and kind of have just a side panel off. But then I went to actually put the motherboard, or excuse me, the power supply in as well too, and it turns out that was actually a little big as well. It was again a small form case, but I had a full-size ATX power supply, which can work in certain cases, right? But I didn't have anywhere that I can kind of mount the power supply in a sufficient manner, and where like that I would get enough airflow coming through. And the last thing I wanted was to kind of overheat something and then fry something inside the computer, right? So what I ended up going with was the iCUE 4000X Corsair case. This comes in both a black and a white flavor. I went ahead and went with the white. I'm actually kind of glad I went with the white. It matches the PS5 that I have pretty nicely as well too. This case also comes with 3 fans in the front. So you have the glass panel here that you can actually remove. I'll have it sit here. I have to actually put that on. It takes 2 hands to actually put that back. You can kind of see the fans that I have here going in the front. These fans also are RGB, but just kind of a warning, you actually do have to have the core, I think it's a core hub that you actually have to mount inside your PC and connect to these fans to actually be able to control the RGB lighting, right? I don't have that core yet, just yet. I'll probably pick it up sometime like later this week or a couple of weeks. You know, the RGB is going to be nice to look at, but it's not actually affecting any performance issues in my PC, and so I'm not too pressed about it, truth be told. But it would be nice to have those lights, and I know it'll look a lot better. But again, those are all aesthetic purposes. The fans are working perfectly fine without it. You also have this kind of mesh cover as well too, and so you don't just have it kind of your fans kind of exposed like that. When you put this glass panel on, there is also some space in between, just so you guys know. You're not just kind of, you know, have airflow that kind of gets trapped right here in a glass case. It can still kind of come out the sides as well too. You can see the actual cooler that I have in here is RGB, and so I don't want to keep that in the camera too long, it's flashing in you guys' faces. But you do have different settings you can get with that particular cooler. You can have the settings, the RGB settings be flashing like I have it, consistent, transitioning from different colors. That's pretty cool as well too. Like I said, it will look nice to have them all synced up with the 3 fans in the front. This side panel, as you can see, does come off. I know the sound it sounds a lot more harsher than it is, guys, trust me. And so if you guys want to kind of get just a clear look inside, my RAM is right there next to the CPU cooler. You have my graphics card that also has the 2 fans on the bottom. I don't know if I can get a good look for you guys. I don't have the flash on currently. And I have plenty enough space. What I want to do, I believe, is I'll probably add another fan, maybe just kind of right here on top. In the future, my GPU and GPU really, as what I was looking at, didn't get over 85 degrees Celsius. Really, I kind of barely jumped to that, if anything, really. So right now I think I'm good, but I don't think it would hurt to add a couple extra fans just to be safe, right? Rather be safe than be sorry. Rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it, right? As far as performance goes with this graphics card, it's kind of like I was looking at with different benchmark tests before I bought it. I'm able to run Warzone at 120 frames per second during gameplay, up to like 200 and something frames per second sometimes. So it definitely does what it needs to do. I've also tested Halo Infinite, but Halo Infinite, I think it's like capped out at like 60 frames per second. So it's like, you know, it's only so much I can actually do with that game, but it still runs it really smoothly. I've played a couple of other games, like non-intensive GPU intensive games like Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Brawlhalla is seamless. Those games, they look really well as well too. So again, and I'm also editing this video that you guys are watching as I'm kind of recording this. So definitely am happy with my purchase. I am content, right guys? Again, like a little more RGB just for aesthetic purposes, but we can always add that later. As far as performance goes and price to performance, I think I did pretty good. Again, I'll keep saying this, I'm content with my purchase. I've been using this PC for like a few days now before I actually kind of jumped in and edit this video. Just want to make sure everything that was okay, everything was up and running, and I have not been disappointed yet. Keep in mind, guys, if you do buy this graphics card, you will need to plug it up to your actual power supply unit. This is a graphics card that needs its own power supply source, not separately from your PSU, but you want to make sure you have a PSU that you can actually plug your graphics card into. Just kind of FYI, the power supply unit that I'll have on PC Part Picker will be able to support that. So if you guys kind of go ahead and buy those two in combination, if you want to use these particular parts. But yeah, other than that, like I said, guys, I'm pretty content with the price point. I'm pretty content with the performance as well too, and I think this will be a PC that'll last me a long time. Oh, and one more thing I do want to point out about this motherboard, because I believe it is a micro ATX. I won't say because it's a micro ATX, but it is a smaller motherboard. So one component that it is missing is Wi-Fi. I do want to point that out. When you're reading and you're looking at these components, guys, make sure you're looking at everything. I knew that this wasn't going to have Wi-Fi when I bought it, and so because I have an Ethernet port, and honestly, the way I looked at it is I don't ever want to be gaming on Wi-Fi. I always want to be on Ethernet port anyways. And if I have access to Ethernet, that's what I'm going to be using is Ethernet. I'll never use Wi-Fi over Ethernet. However, it might be good in some instances, you know, if you don't have access to Ethernet core right away, or say, you know, maybe you kind of waiting on something else to come into the mail, and so that you want to use Wi-Fi. If you were to get this motherboard, you would not be able to use that. You have to wait to get an Ethernet port actually. So just something to think about with this particular motherboard, and when you're making a build in general, make sure you guys are reading through all the specifications. Just because this does not have Wi-Fi doesn't mean that PC Part Picker won't say, hey, you're all good to go. Right, so things like that you have to kind of keep an eye out for yourself. Make a list, kind of see what some parts have, the features, what you would like in your PC, and then what some parts don't have. I was talking to a guy the other day, and he said he didn't even know it was possible for a motherboard to not have Wi-Fi, which makes sense, you know, because that's probably usually a standard in all the computers these days and laptops. So again, just make sure you guys are doing that research, and you'll be all set to go. Oh, and I actually forgot. There's one last component. The operating system. I went with Windows 11. Windows 11 is, I mean, performance wise, it's better than Windows 10 right now. Still a little bit new, so it has like bugs and kinks to work out. But again, thinking about future proofing anyways, might as well get the most up-to-date operating system. You know, it'd be cool if game developers would develop stuff on Linux, makes Linux a more game friendly, but you know, until that day, we're going to deal with Windows. Windows 11 operating system actually was more expensive than what I thought it was going to be. Again, I don't know what I thought the price point would have been, but to get Windows 11 Home Edition, right, 64-bit, not like Pro or like anything like that. Windows 11 Home was $100. Yep, so 106 after tax. And I think that was actually with a like a promo. I got like $20 off. It was really like 120. So. And there you have it, guys. So those are all the components that are in my PC. When I was building this PC, I had a budget. I didn't want to go anywhere over $1,500, right? I didn't necessarily want to spend $1,500, but again, in the current market and the way prices are kind of going up and down, I told myself, you're gonna need to spend a little bit of money anyways, especially for something that for gaming at 1440p at a high frames per second, being able to kind of edit videos as well too, efficiently as possible. And then also, guys, I am a computer scientist, programming things, doing stuff like that on my own computer. I kind of wanted to do all those three things, and so $1,500, I knew I was going to have to spend probably a little bit more money than what kind of like a bare bones 1080p build, obviously. And so $1,500 was kind of the price point that I set. I can confidently say that I didn't spend $1,500. I didn't get to that. I think all in all, my bill was about maybe $1,200, $1,300. Granted, I did get some help from my brother, and so, you know, call it cheating, if you will. But even if I was to buy the RAM and the case, it's still, I think it might have been just a little bit over $1,500, but you know, a couple dollars over it, I wouldn't have been too upset with that as well too. All right. Oh, I also almost forgot as well too. I bought a monitor a long time ago. I think it has a refresh rate of 144. It is a Viotech monitor. Same monitor right now is going for about 180, and I bought it. That guys, I bought that like. I couldn't find the receipt to give you the exact price, but I know it was well over $200. So that is one thing that I'm hurt about, truth be told, because I could have saved a lot of money. And I've also seen a lot more 165 hertz or 165 refresh rate monitors going around, and so that one actually did hurt. I'm not gonna lie, but I need a second monitor anyways to do things for when I'm multitasking, gaming, and doing other things as well. So I'll be looking for another monitor. If you guys have any suggestions on monitors, right, feel free to leave them in the comments. So alright guys, don't forget also, I will put a link in the description to PC Part Picker with all of my particular parts, except maybe like the case. I'll try and find like a substitute case, or maybe I'll speak to my brother and see if he knows the exact one. But I'll kind of put all of my parts down low for you guys if you kind of want to see again the price point, or look at everything yourself of my particular build. That's all I have for you guys today as well too. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Go ahead and share the video as well too. Anybody else you think is interested in, you know, PC gaming, things of that nature. Again, really looking forward to building this PC and then gaming on it and then showing you guys how it is. So thanks for watching. Appreciate you all. See you guys next time.
Shout out to Lil Bro for this one.